I was wondering, and I don't know whom exactly addressed this question to, but thinking of censorship during the Third Reich, World War II, the not one of the films which came out of the Nazi government was a film about the Baron von Münchhausen, which contains, even though I've only seen scenes, a very subtle but very clear criticism of the Nazi government, which at the time they didn't get. So they actually released it without seeing that there was this criticism in the film. And I was wondering if, even though I don't like to defend censorship because I believe in freedom, but I was wondering if censorship to a certain extent could be regarded as a way to maybe empower creativity and empower script writing and trying to get messages through in a different way. So if censorship in the end could be a sort of a chance.
Or two names, and it was the same case for Orhan Pamuk, for example, the Nobel Prize in Turkey. And I think that it's something very important and to handle it very carefully. But you have to fight, definitely, against those censorships. And don't forget also maybe the auto-censorship, or self-censorship. So it exists. And also it exists for the filmmakers. I know in our countries, in Iran and in Turkey, some filmmakers try to write their script as they think that the Western countries would like to see it. So that is a very bad thing too. But it's important that in Western countries, the campaign must be clever and stronger in order to be efficient.
It has been, it's very interesting, but as you said, the self-censorship and also the government. The government has done an amazing job to forcing filmmakers and even musicians, painters to censor themselves in advance. Like when like I was writing a script a few years ago when I was in Iran, and I gave it to my friend filmmakers to read. They said, "Oh no, you can't do this. You can't do this. Not in Iran. Not in Iran. Not in Iran. Not in Iran." So from the very beginning, you actually trained yourself that these scenes cannot work, these shots cannot work, these dialogues cannot work. Then when you give it to the censorship board, then they go over it as well. You know. But after the second script, they actually you yourself become a censorship center for yourself, which is amazing. Then now I think every Iranian director or artist can run a censorship office in any countries because they know so much of it. But also I think what makes creativity is freedom, you know, and knowledge and life experience. You don't need censorship at all. You don't need war to tell you that you can be creative. You know, I spent 1.5 years in a war between Iran and Iraq. That didn't make me creative. It didn't, honestly. And after all these years and living with this horrible experience, and maybe I can write about the war, but that's not because I experienced it. You know, I don't want to experience any hardship in order to write. As a matter of fact, I don't mind having my Ferrari sitting by my place and going home and my mansion and sit down and write my script. I don't mind that at all. But I don't want to have to go through this hardship in order it just makes me creative. Jafar Panahi talking about the accordion. That Ferrari thing was a joke, but I'm just basically saying that it's good to be comfortable when you write your piece. Jafar Panahi, when I received accordion, when Jafar was in prison, he didn't even know, like he cut it himself, and I think the sound was kind of all over the place. It was done when he was in prison, and when I received it, the sound wasn't really good. And he hadn't even seen the piece until like a month ago himself. When I got the master, transferred the DVDs and all this stuff, and someone was going back to Iran, and I said, Jafar, do you want to see your film? He goes, yeah, I don't mind that, you know. And you know, poor man, like he didn't even see the final product of his own film, you know, and he cut it himself, but he didn't really know. Then he just telling me, he was telling me that, oh yeah, the sound doesn't work here, and I think we should do it again, and you know, but you know, but already film was released and it's here and everything. So I think it's tragic that the filmmaker himself doesn't have any sort of control on the piece. It's just because, and a film like this, which is so peaceful, talks about tolerance and anti-violence, and they're not even tolerate about tolerance. You know, it's just very strange. And the film, it's a beautiful, beautiful film, and some of you probably perhaps seen it or you can go see it tonight. There's really nothing, it's just such a beautiful film. And I really, and they were, when he was, they found out, I think, that the film was out, and during the interrogation, and they asked him how he made the film and what happened that it got out, and it even bothered him more and more and more while he was in prison for this 6 minutes film. I mean, it just, as I said, it's absolutely tragic. Again, you don't need censorship to be creative.